What's going on there, guys? Welcome back to a new episode of the Craftavore Tastes. First new episode in a couple of weeks. Apologies to everybody there for the hiatus, but it was actually for good reason, and it actually plays perfectly into today's video. So the reason for the brief little 2-week hiatus there in between episodes was simply based on the fact that I have been traveling. And so I'm pretty passionate about two things in my life. One, obviously, being craft beer, and the second is actually travel. And so more times than not in the last number of years, those two passions and those two worlds have collided. I've actually traveled for beer more than I have not in the last number of years, and much to my family and specifically my wife's chagrin. Every time we go away, I figure out a way to weave in a brewery, a craft beer bar, or a craft beer bottle shop, regardless of where we go. So anyway, I've been traveling the last couple of weeks, and the idea for this video, or this new kind of episode that you're watching today, kind of hit me. And the name of this particular episode, and I'm hoping to do a bunch of them, in the next couple of months, is called 24 Hours In. And so basically the concept is, if anybody out there remembers the late, great Anthony Bourdain's television show, The Layover, it's pretty much a similar concept. You have 24 hours in a particular place, and what I'm going to do is recommend one brewery, one bottle shop or place to buy beer, one restaurant, and one craft beer or bar to attend in that place in 24 hours. So I thought it was a pretty cool concept and an idea, and so here we are. So we're going to do episode number 1 of 24 Hours In, and the city that we are going to be doing is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So a couple of weeks ago, myself and my wife actually went down to Philly for a weekend to celebrate my birthday. Philly is actually one of my absolute favorite beer or beer-related cities in the country. I'm super lucky to actually only live about an hour and a half, 2 hours north, so it's pretty easy to hit up. So let's go ahead and freaking dive straight into this new episode called 24 Hours in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. All right, so first thing that we're going to do is, what's that brewery that you got to hit when you're in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? Clearly, I got one here, and I'm freaking wearing the shirt, so it's a little bit of a freaking dead giveaway. But Tired Hands in Ardmore, PA, is your brewery stop that you must hit up when you are visiting Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. All right? So Ardmore is located basically about 25 minutes northwest of the city. And if you're coming in from the north, like New Jersey, New York, Mass, you could actually get there and go straight to the kind of, the brewery itself, hit it up, and then swing your way into the city coming, south kind of east. It actually works out pretty well from a road perspective. But so when you get to Ardmore, PA, and specifically the Tired Hands, they got a couple of different locations in of Ardmore that are open for specific reasons. So like the main one is their fermenteria. And so the fermenteria is a location where they brew from. They also have a pretty awesome food program that's kind of centered around tacos. And you can also get growler fills and also purchase some cans. And that's actually the location where they do their can releases, the famous Tired Hands can releases where people are putting chairs to save their space in line. But yeah, so you get to the fermenteria, and it's a pretty freaking awesome space, man. Like, it's wide open. You walk in, and you got the bar over to the left-hand side, and you got some pretty nice tabletops set up for you to have lunch. And on the right-hand side, you can kind of see the working brewery there. A lot of fooders that they have, as well as canning lines and things of that nature. You can actually pick up growlers on like the right-hand section of the bar. And so we went there, and I kind of crushed myself through a bunch of different beers. I actually ended up getting the carnitas tacos. So if you're there, get those. Those were freaking awesome. And so that's kind of the fermenteria. Tired Hands also has their brew cafe, which I believe is only open for dinner. So I think it starts at 4 p.m. But they also have a full slew of beers that are available on draft there as well as a full kind of more dinnerish focused menu. So that's another location. Third location is actually the general store. So basically the general store is their kind of like merch shop / area where you can also pick up cans, and that's kind of located in downtown Ardmore. Pretty much all these locations are like within walking distance of each other, so you can kind of go there and make a day out of it. But so I went to the general store, picked up some merch, And then also picked up this beer, which I've already opened up, which is D2H3 Motueka, which is a double dry hopped pale ale. No ABV listed unless I can't see it, but I think it's somewhere around mid-5. So I actually poured that beer out. And let's go ahead and actually take a peek at it real quick. So coming in kind of, nice and kind of hazy, although it does have some clean notes to it. Obviously, Tired Hands is known for, a bit of that haze game and, obviously probably more famously for their milkshake IPA series. But, beer looks super nice. Extremely kind of clean and inviting. Motueka for me has kind of got a little bit of that earthy kind of dankness kind of going on, a little bit of spiciness too. So I'm just going to pop in and get a little taste. Yeah, beer is absolutely super nice. Super low in ABV. Aromatic from that single hopped Motueka. Double dry hop, so it's a bit more intense. But it's extremely, extremely clean and crushable, like a perfect, legitimate, perfect summer beer. So I picked up a 4-pack while I was there. All right, so that's the brewery that you have to hit up if you are in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Next is going to be Bottle Shop. So I've been to Philly a number of times over the last dozen or so years. And every single time I go to Philly, I do hit up this one particular place. And that bottle shop is called Monde Market. And it is located, I wrote it down, just to make sure that I did not forget, 100 South 21st Street, which is basically South 21st Street and Chestnut Street. That's basically the cross street. So it's just west of Rittenhouse Square. And the reason why I picked Monde Market is because Philadelphia is super unique than pretty much any other city except for maybe Denver, a little bit of San Fran, and obviously Santa Rosa, California. And the reason why I'm getting at that is because it's the only city that I know of outside of those that gets on the regular Russian River beers. And so Monde Market is one of those places, bottle shops, that when you walk in, they actually have Russian River sours on the shelf for you to purchase, which, if you're a fan of craft beer, and you're on the East Coast and you don't live in like Santa Rosa, that's pretty badass. And so I walked in there and like I always have and picked up a couple bottles of Consecration, Supplication, and Damnation. I mean, how do you freaking beat that? But on top of the Russian River sours that are available there on shelf, they also have, a series of different beers from all across the East Coast. Their coolers are packed with, hazy beers from the latest hype breweries, beers from the West Coast. Like, it's just an overall awesome bottle shop. So if you dig Russian River sours and you're trying to get your hands on them and you're not flying to California anytime soon, get yourself over to Monde Market. I think it's a pretty awesome bottle shop in the city of Philadelphia and a must stop when you are there. Next, restaurant. So I was actually down there for, as I mentioned, for my birthday. And so my wife and I spent the weekend, and we basically wanted to find a cool place for me to kind of celebrate my birthday dinner. And we found a pretty badass place, also located pretty much within walking distance of Monde Market, which is pretty sweet because we basically went and hit up the restaurant and then hit up the bottle shop afterwards, and I kind of knocked those two birds in one stone. And the restaurant is called The Butcher Bar, and it's located on 2034 Chestnut Street. And as I mentioned, it's just literally not even half a block away from Monde Market. And basically what the Butcher Bar is it is a place that grills and is specializing in grilled meats on a wood-fired grill. So if you don't like meat, don't go to the Butcher Bar. Just fast forward through this part of the video. But if you do like meat, make sure you head up to the Butcher Bar. It is an amazing restaurant. They have incredible burgers that they do. A tremendous amount of steaks, chicken, pork, and it's just the entire restaurant because they are cooking under wood fire or with wood fire and grilling. Just the smell that permeates through this joint is incredible. It's 2 floors. First floor is the bar area, which actually has a tremendous amount of great craft beer lines as well. So it kind of, you killed kind of 2 birds with one stone. Badass restaurant, great beer program. And then you can also walk upstairs to kind of a more main dining room area. And then they actually even have an outside section where we sat, but it's covered almost kind of like a elevated kind of patio, which kind of has a little bit of a beer garden feel to it. And that's where we had dinner. The dish that I actually had was called their Royale with cheese, man. So a little shout out to freaking Pulp Fiction, yeah. And basically it was a 2-pattied burger, sloppingly covered in American cheese, a little bit of lettuce, some pickles, and then obviously a special sauce. So think, double quarter pounder mixed in with a Big Mac on a wood fire grill. if you follow me on Instagram, I actually put up a picture of that burger, and it was out of sight, man. So if you're there, get the Royale with cheese. It's 100% freaking worth it. If you're going there with a party or a large party, a party of like 8 or more, they do have this option called the Trough, where they basically take like a beer garden style, table, and all of the folks kind of sit around it that are in your party, and they throw out this butcher paper, and then they literally just grill up like a shitload of meat, like steaks, sausages, ribs, all of this stuff, and literally throw it down on the freaking table. It's like $300, but like, holy smokes. Like if you've ever been to like a, like a New England clam bake or something like that, where like, the big pot comes out and they just throw all the shit on the table. Imagine that with meat. Go on their Yelp page, check it out. So if you're going there with a big group, get yourself the Trough. We actually saw a group do it next to us. It was pretty intense, but they got through it. So that's the restaurant. Last but certainly not least is Beer Bar. So if you're going to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, there is literally, in my opinion, only one bar that you need to go to if you only have 24 hours. And that bar is none other than Monk's Cafe in Rittenhouse Square. So Monk's Cafe is actually located 264 South 16th Street, between Latimer Street and Spruce Street. So Monk's Cafe, I think, was opened in the mid-1980s by a gentleman by the name of Tom Peters. And it was opened up like a Belgian beer bar, right? And pretty much at that time, an endeavor like that just wasn't all too common. But Monk's, in my opinion, is easily in my top 5 favorite beer bars on the East Coast, if not in the entire country. They have pretty much all year around Russian River's Pliny the Elder. They also get in a tremendous amount of other Russian River kegs like Blind Pig, Damnation, and even when I was there, they actually had their Russian River sours also on draft as well, so Consecration and Supplication. So for me, that was a crazy, crazy, crazy super treat. The place is freaking old school. Looks like it hasn't been kind of updated or changed since they opened it. It's kind of dank. It's kind of dark. It has 2 bar areas. The front bar area is larger. I actually like the back bar area. It's a little bit more cozy. And they have a tremendous, massive bottle selection that you can purchase. And if you come there on the right dates, you might actually even be able to get Cantillon bottles there as well. I have yet to go to Monk's Cafe and have them have Cantillon bottles in stock. But I have known people who have purchased them, and I've actually seen people or pictures of people with them. So I do know they exist. They also have a pretty amazing, thick, huge, like 40-page beer Bible book, which contains all the bottles that they contain in their cellar and all that other kind of fun stuff. The food's pretty badass, too. If you're there, get the mole free. Or get yourself the duck salad sandwich, or you can even have that duck salad actually just regularly kind of like on a salad. So those are my kind of recommendations. All right, so that's going to do it for this episode of 24 Hours in Philadelphia. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments section if this is kind of a cool little alternative or kind of a new video series that you kind of dig. Hopefully you guys like it. I thought it was a pretty cool concept, and I'm looking forward to doing some more as long as, you guys think it's a good idea. All right, so catch you again on the next episode of the Craftavore Tastes, where I drink, I review, I rate, and then I repeat. Cheers, guys.